This scene, I'm having the same dream again. In the dream, Sana realized that she was dreaming. A woman with long hair wearing white cloth. That was her, in her dream. She was lying on a simple bed covered in straw, in a dark, damp, small room built of stone. Her body was emaciated and her pale arms were thin. Even though she was in a dream, Sana knew she was sick.
Emalua,
said the pale-faced old woman. It was her mother, Karnana, who had hurried into the room. Emalua was Sana's name in the dream. Looking into the face of Emalua lying on the bed, Karnana burst into tears.
Pharos is dead. He's been murdered.
She cried, clutching Emarua's clothes.
Orgos will also be executed. There is no hope to survive.
To hear that, Emarua's heart ached as if it had been dug with a knife. Why do we have to go through such misfortune? After all, there is no God. Even if they existed, they would only side with the nobility and the wealthy. They don't care a bit about us commoners. Tears welled up in Emalua's eyes. The tears were a mixture of sadness, regret and hatred. The only relief was that now she had no regrets and was freed from the body, and could immediately go to the side of the Pharos. At that moment, her hope for life turned to a yearning for death. Emalua's attention was drawn to the wooden box hidden under the bed. Inside it is a poison that was obtained some time ago.
Huh? Where am I?
Chris suddenly realized that he was lying on the bed.
Huh?
He sat up and looked around the room. He was on the bed in his own room. He was supposed to have gone for a walk with Bebe and met a green-haired boy on top of a castle. Then he flew across the sky. Chris couldn't understand why he was sleeping in his room. Was I dreaming? No way. I actually remember it as a feeling. The curtains were closed, but it was bright outside. He looked at the digital clock next to the bed and it showed 7:20 am on Saturday. Chris figured that a day has passed already. However, he remembered clearly going for a walk after coming back home from school yesterday and meeting a green-haired boy. But he has no memory of anything after that.
Bebe, when did we get back yesterday? Do you remember flying in the sky?
Chris called out to Bebe, who was sleeping at his feet. However, Bebe is still asleep and doesn't respond. Seeing Bebe like that, Chris felt something was off. Usually, when Chris wakes up, Bebe senses his presence and wakes up too.
Bebe?
He called out again, but there was still no response. Moving across the bed, Chris touched Bebe's body. Its body was stiffer than usual. Touching the cold, small body, just skin and bones, Chris instantly realized. Bebe's dead. Bebe! Chris cried out, burying his face in the little corpse. No, 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 no. Don't die, Bebe. Don't leave me. Bebe's body was buried in a hole dug by Chris' father in the yard. Chris continued to shed tears as the soil was poured over it. Once Bebe was out of sight, Chris cried louder. Chris hoped this was just a dream. But the pain in his stomach made him realize that it was real. Bebe was Chris' only hope of survival. He was able to put up with the bullying because there was Bebe's presence. He was able to work hard until now because of Bebe. After losing Bebe, Chris had no reason to live. Why did Bebe die and why am I alive? Everyone dies, so why am I born? He wondered in his bed. Chris mused about death and the meaninglessness of life. Sana was daydreaming on her bed. The family was supposed to go shopping at the mall, but she declined, saying she didn't feel like it. Her mind was held captive by the dreams she had every day. It was a very realistic dream. She could remember things in vivid detail, as if they were real past events. She couldn't believe it was just a dream. Maybe it's a memory from a past life. Sana remembered that there had been a special program on TV about children who had memories of their past lives. If that's the case, then Chris and I were in a relationship. Chris was murdered and I followed suit and committed suicide. Maybe it was fate that I met Chris again in this life. In previous life, Chris lost his life for me. Maybe this time it's my turn to help Chris. Remembering the lonely look on Chris' face, Sana reached for her smartphone.